Okay, been struggling with a lot of stuff lately, and a lot of PTSD stuff, a lot of physical elements, spinal cord issues, you name it. Just struggling with a lot of stuff. And it came to me, and I prayed really hard of how I like checklists, and I just needed some basic steps of how I can get straightened out a little bit and kind of get better at getting me better. And it came to me in the middle of the night. And it just said, here's your directives. Be positive. Be productive. Ignore pain. And ignore negativity. There's your 4 directives. Be positive. Be productive. Ignore pain. Ignore negativity. So every day now, I try my best when something negative comes up, I try to ignore it. And then I try to change pain into productivity. If I'm hurting in a certain way, a certain area, or I'm having some kind of an issue, I make sure that I turn that into something productive. If it's nothing but wash the dishes, if it's nothing but make my bed, something productive. Get up, and the first productive thing I do of the day is make my bed. My wife has been doing it for years. She does really good. In the Army, we always made our bed first. And I'd kind of got away from that because I guess I was kind of rebelling against the Army way of life. But so be positive. So when a negative thought comes to my mind and a pity party starts to form, I tell myself, be positive. What is the positive? What is positive in this picture? The picture is pretty negative, but what in this picture can be positive? Well, I got another day. I woke up this morning. That's positive. I'm able to see. That's positive, at least out of one eye. I can hear. I can hear the birds. I can hear the wind chimes. That's positive. I can smell. A lot of people lost their sense of smell. I can smell things. That's positive. I can feel things in my hands, not in my legs, but in my hands. That's positive. So yes, there's positive. So be positive. There's my positive. I found the positive immediately. I made my bed. I found the positive. I can taste a cup of coffee in the morning. I can feel a warm shower. I'll tell you, you don't really understand the luxury of having a warm shower until you don't have one. Listen to the wind chimes. Man, when we were in the desert, I didn't realize how nice a warm shower was. So yes, a warm shower is positive. And then my wife makes me a nice breakfast. That is so positive. So, be positive, be productive, ignore pain, and ignore negativity. So, be positive and ignore negativity kind of go together, right? So, the first one's be positive, last one's ignore negativity. Negativity likes to creep back in, and it likes to say, hey, you really do have you really have got some bad cards dealt, You got a spinal cord injury, you have all this shit going on, But if you ignore that and you remember the first directive of be positive, now you can do number 2, which be productive. Ignore pain and be productive. Okay? Pain will make you stop productivity of anything. And what can be productivity? That can be anything that you do in the positive column. Okay, what does that mean? Well, productivity. Maybe I washed the dishes. I did make my bed. That's productive. I folded my clothes. That's productive. I washed dishes. That's productive. Can I create something? Can I create something from this pain I have? I have some pain. I have some internal agony and pain and heartache. Can I make something from that? What if I put that on paper? What if I write a song about that? What if I write a poem about that? What if I paint a picture out of that? Guess what? I just became productive. I became productive. What if I sit down and I listen to something, a class on YouTube, and I learn something, and I increase my skill set? I learned something. I increased my skill set a little bit. Now I'm productive. Now I've produced something. You know, there's always something you can produce in other people too, and that's called a smile. You ever notice that if you go into a store and you smile and you go, "Hey, how are y'all? How you doing?" It's at least here in North Florida. I don't know about New York and all that bullshit, but here, if you say hi or how's it going, and you smile, or you just look up and go, you know, 99 times out of 10, you'll get a smile back. So what did you do? You were productive. You produced a smile on someone else. Or you can be honest with someone and look them over, not flirting in any way, but you can look them over and try to find something you like about them. And you can say, "Man, I really like your jacket." Well, guess what? You just produced a good feeling in another person. He's like, "Well, thanks." Or you say, "Hey, you know, it looks like you lost some weight. Are you on a diet? You doing good with your diet? Looks like you lost some weight." You just you gave them a positive. You gave them some positive. You produced something. You produced a good feeling in them. They feel like they're accomplishing something, and they are, and you're recognizing that. So you're being positive, being productive. You're ignoring pain, ignoring negativity. The 4 directives. And you know, it started changing some stuff about me in many ways. The VA said, you know, for PTSD, we can do therapy. I was like, what's that mean? And for your spinal cord injury, we can do therapy. What's that look like? Well, we can send someone out to lift your arm. Well, my arm's fine. This arm's okay. I can lift it over and over. Okay. Can you send someone out that'll give me some positivity to the point I want to smile, I want to sing, I want to tell others about it? He said, well, we do have art. I said, art? Ooh, I kind of like art. I like music. I know that I can listen to certain songs and I feel energized. And I can listen to other songs and I want to cry. So yeah, maybe that, you know. So, therapy. Sometimes therapy can be found in your 4 directives. And if you're positive and you're productive and you ignore pain, you ignore negativity, because sometimes people can give you negativity, and if you ignore it, then you don't accept it and it don't bring you down. So sometimes people go, man, you sure are getting fat. Or it must be terrible to be in a wheelchair. Or, man, what happened to you? Why you need that crutch? Those are negative statements. If you ignore them and you turn it back around and you say, well, you look pretty good. You look like you're doing well. That's firing some positive at them. You ignored the negativity, fired positive, and you created something. You did something. All right. So be positive, be productive, ignore pain, ignore negativity. And by doing that, you will help your family, your friends, and your fellow warrior